What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. So, obviously, throughout the LCS the last couple of weeks or week or whatever, we've seen a lot of different benchings of some very high-profile players like Alphari and Sven. We've seen some lower-tier benchings, probably like, Soligo and guys like that. But everyone has been throwing out opinions and takes and all that stuff. And today, we actually have an experience, take, whatever you want to call it, from Doublelift. This comes from his co-stream this past weekend where he watches the LCS games and he reacts to stuff. And I think Doublelift has a very, very interesting perspective because he has been a top tier player, he has been a fan favorite, he has been the face of multiple different franchises, and he has also been benched in the middle of the split. He has also been part of a surprise benching. He has also been part of a benching and then bring him back and blah, 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 all this craziness that is going on surrounding a lot of different guys like right now, like Sven and like Alphari. So I think getting his take on this whole situation is actually very, very interesting, and he has some call outs for Team Liquid management, coaching staff, just the org in general also, which is pretty spicy. But definitely make sure you guys do drop a like on this video. I'd appreciate it so much. Really does help me out with the YouTube algorithm. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. With that being said, here we go. We got a couple of clips to get through. Again, this is Doublelift this past weekend during this is the Cloud9 Dignitas game. They started talking about this again because of the Soligo Yusui benching, but this applies to a lot of other stuff and also just some really, really interesting stories and everything.
Into my mentality of like, if you're gonna do a roster change, you shouldn't do it lightly. Like, you don't fuck around with a roster change. It's a
get smoked.
It's like a not a permanent deal, but like it's something that you're committed to for at least like a few weeks, because that player is gonna need a few weeks of scrims and a few weeks of like playing on stage with that.
So I completely agree with him here, and this is something that Jat had talked about a little bit. When they made their video benching Alphari, Jat was like, this is not something we did lightly. We've thought about this for a month, blah, 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 blah. And it's good, and it's easy to say, but I actually do hope that these teams know exactly what they're doing. And I think for the most part they do. Cloud9, they know what they're doing benching Sven. I think they have plans to probably look to sell him off in the future and everything. But when he talks about these decisions maybe being temporary, that might sound weird because you're like, what do you mean? You bench him, you can just bring him right back. And yes, you can for that split, for that season, whatever. Yeah, he's locked in your contract. He either has to play for you or play for nobody. But sometimes the damage that these benchings can cause can absolutely be permanent, and we've seen it time and time again, just like with Doublelift himself. After he was benched from Team Liquid, that relationship between them was irreparable. And Team Liquid with Doublelift before was this team that won 4 straight championships or whatever, and I believe since they've lost Doublelift, they have not won a single championship. And it all kind of started, yeah, maybe from Doublelift playing bad, or maybe him having attitude issues or ego issues or whatever, and they wanted to bench him to gain his motivation. But a lot of these things, they can really blow up, and is that going to happen to Cloud9? Is that going to happen to Team Liquid? Is that going to happen to Dignitas? I don't know, but I hope whatever they're doing, they know the potential permanence and potential damage that moves like this can have, especially to top-tier players, especially to guys like Alphari and Sven, who are one of the best in their positions. They have egos, they have pride, and they also have a career full of results that kind of, I'm sure makes them feel like they probably shouldn't be getting benched and everything.
Here's
the
that
next
to
clip.
even look like himself. It's really unfair to like sub somebody in and like give them 2 days of scrims plus like 1 day of LCS, and if they don't fucking play great on that 1 day, like it's over. But I don't know, it goes both ways too, because it's really unfair if you just like bench somebody for 1 game, showing them that no one trusts in them or believes in them, and then like sub them back in, expect it all to be okay, like a fucking rebound girlfriend. It's just no. Stage with that team to even.
So for that one, I don't think as much of that has been going on. I mean, when we've seen the Alphari benching, they have plans to bring him back in a couple of weeks. So Jenkins is actually getting some ample time. And with Sven, I mean, King is still playing it. We're now 2 weeks into the LCS. So I don't really think that necessarily applies to either the Cloud9 or the Team Liquid situation. I think Doublelift is more talking about his own situation here and talking about some situations that we've seen in the past. But I definitely agree with that. When you do decide to make a move like this, yeah, let it ride out. You got to give it weeks. You can't just give it a little bit of time. You can't just give them a little bit of scrims or whatever. You need to actually give that player a fair chance to mold, because League of Legends is such a team game. Obviously, synergy, all of that stuff matters so much. So not really too much in that clip that I think is that applicable to any of the current day situations. But obviously, Doublelift is making a good point, and it seems like management and staffs are trending in that direction, which I think is great to see because that's definitely not always how things have been. But the last clip, I think this one is where we start to get a little bit more spicy.
Right afterwards, I'm at the gym working out, and
you got a call.
I got a call. Yeah,
Did they
from
say
the
you
coaches,
up?
and they said, yeah, actually, we just lost a CLG. Can you be ready for scrims tomorrow? We're going to put you back in. It's like, fuck you guys. I don't want to fucking play. Like, you literally just are, like, waiting for a reason to, I don't even know. It's like some weird, like, mental gymnastics where, like, you want to play with tactical until you lose a game, and then you want to put me back in for, like, the easier, I don't know. Right afterwards.
So, obviously, very, very interesting stuff there. Him saying, fuck you to Team Liquid. And him just kind of going on, talking a little bit behind the scenes of what he thinks about Team Liquid's management, coaching staff, all that stuff. Obviously, this was a couple of years ago. Stuff could have changed since then. You know, hopefully they have learned from that experience and everything. But, man, Doublelift, you know, feeling like he got disrespected, feeling like he kind of got treated like crap and got benched, and that they wanted to play with tactical, that they were saying how good tactical was, how he was ready to go, and he had a really, really big breakout performance, but then they had a bad week the next week, they lose a couple of games, and then, you know, all of a sudden they're calling Doublelift back up, like, hey man, you want to play for us this next weekend? And I'm conflicted because on one hand, I do get it. I understand the Team Liquid side. Doublelift wasn't playing that well. He had an ego and attitude. He was, you know, actively telling people that spring split doesn't matter and he doesn't care about these games. He's not wrong about that though. However, you know, the stuff really didn't matter. But then, you know, I do understand that, yeah, players have to get benched sometimes. Sometimes you got to try out different stuff. Also, Doublelift was getting older, getting probably to the end of his career. They had a young, talented AD carry in Tactical who they probably wanted to try out. They probably wanted to see what they had with him. You know, and teams do need to find out what they have in younger players and everything. But then again, I also understand the older players' perspective of, okay, well, I don't want to just get benched so you guys can find out what you have. You know, I'm here. I think I'm the best. I'm ready to play. I'm ready to go. So I definitely get both sides of it. And it's a fine line that management has to walk. But yeah, with Doublelift obviously being very out of the loop, him not even, you know, thinking him being subbed back in would be an option. He's at the gym. He's minding his own business. He got benched. He's like, whatever. You guys want to play with Tactical? You go for it. And then they're going to call him up, like Medio says, like a you up, you know, like a booty call or something, like, hey man, we miss you, we need you back this week, what's up, we just lost a CLG, and super funny. And then that's just another instance of, you know, management, you know, flipping back and forth, being like, oh, we need tactical, now we need Doublelift, blah 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 blah. And it does give us just a great insight from a top player in a situation that was handled very, very poorly, of how people talk about how immature the League of Legends scene is. You know, it's a lot of young kids who maybe don't have the best social skills and don't have the best business management, anything like that skills, and how it creates weird, crazy situations. But also, just with how new esports is and how new the League of Legends, esports, and the LCS and everything, how those team general managers, coaches, everyone in these management positions, they're all brand new and they're all handling these situations for the first time. There is a lot of weird stuff going on. There is a lot of mishandling, mismanagement. And yeah, I've seen Team Liquid management, coaching staff, everything getting a lot of hate, getting a lot of flame and everything recently. And obviously Doublelift is not shying away from that. He is definitely going in on them and just giving his experience of how things have happened and how he thinks it's a little bit ridiculous, because he's obviously not happy that Sven has been benched, not happy that Alfari has been benched, and that he feels like, you know, this is kind of the same problems that he had in the past popping up with other players, and I think he's just kind of ready for everyone to get past it, because Doublelift maybe had more of a reason in his situation, and Alfari and Sven, this stuff just seems so weird. But this is what Doublelift has to say on the matter. This is what he was thinking about everything, and again, some little excerpts from how his story went down in his interactions with Team Liquid management. I don't know. It doesn't seem like things are getting much better on their end. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I'd appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. Do you think Team Liquid is right in these situations, in the Doublelift situation, in the Alfari situation, or do you side with the players? I don't know. They're very, very complicated. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.